breaking news coming in from the Cabinet Committee that has ended and has cleared a 51% foreign direct investment in multi-brand retail. Remember, the Cabinet was to actually consider this proposal today. The government has been split from within as well, with ally Mamta Banerjee opposing FDI in retail. The proposal will actually now bring in several multinational corporations into the retail sector, which would essentially mean that many of the global giants that we see in the retail space, companies like Walmart, Carrefour, etc., will now be able to set shop in this country. The Cabinet has actually cleared what we know is 100% foreign direct investment, but this will be in single brand retail. The Cabinet clearing FDI in multi-brand retail. We'll still have to see whether the level of percentage remains at about 51%. Remember, several of the big MNCs will now be able to actually have joint ventures with the Indian firms to open up some of these retail chains. Of course, the criticism really has been for the small kirana stores that we have in the country, the small mom and pop stores that we have in this country. Many saying they would be affected, completely run out of business. The Cabinet has obviously taken all this criticism and opposition into consideration, now clearing foreign direct investment in retail, multi-brand retail, as well as 100% clearance of FDI in single brand retail. Pallavi Ghosh has been tracking that Cabinet meeting. Pallavi, anything that you can add if there are any ifs and buts as far as this Cabinet clearance is concerned?
Well, actually, all those conditions and all what government sources say, the protection for the small stores and also for the farmers is actually a part of this Cabinet note which was circulated yesterday. What government sources, of course, confirming to us is that the FDI in multi-brand retailing, 51% FDI and 100% in single brand retailing has been approved by the Cabinet. But essentially, the important points are, as Anand Sharma pointed out earlier today to us in Parliament, is that in the sensitivity of the Indian markets would be kept in mind, and the interests of the farmers and the consumers also would be kept in mind. But there are 2-3 important points which, of course, rather precautions which have been kept. One, of course, is that a procurement of agricultural products will be the sole priority of the government. So essentially, what the government is trying to ensure is that the interest of the farmers, especially the smaller farmers, is kept intact. In fact, Anand Sharma also told us earlier today that they will commit themselves to offering a good price to the farmers, and it will be a direct access of the product, the agricultural products from the farmers. So at the end of it, it's the consumers also who stand to benefit, because they're going to do away with the middlemen, which means the prices at which we are going to be sold the products to these retail stores will actually be a very effective and a cost-effective price. But the second precaution, which of course has been kept in mind, is that the retail stores will be set up in those cities which have a population of more than 10 lakhs as per the 2011 census. What this, of course, tries to ensure is that the smaller stores or the smaller kirana stores are not affected badly. So essentially, as Anand Sharma pointed out, but there's been a lot of hectic politicking behind this, Anubha, through the day. Anand Sharma, of course, reaching out both to DMK as well, more importantly, to Trinamool Congress, to try and convince them that this policy reform is really essential, and it was important also both for the farmers as well as for the consumers.
All right, Pallavi, you mentioned that. In fact, yesterday on CNN IBN, it was West Bengal Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee who made it very clear she was opposed to this bill going through in its current form. Do we know if all the allies have been brought on board, not to mention senior leaders like Veerappa Moily, also Mukul Vasnik inside the Congress too, unhappy with the bill?
Well, you know, a lot of the disapproval of this FDI in retail could be also seen as posturing. Certainly that it applies as far as the Congress ministers are concerned. But I think the concerns of the allies, or rather the pressure coming in from the allies, was something which the political party, rather the government, was aware of. And that's the reason why Anand Sharma, who has been the nodal person who has been pushing in for FDI in retail, has been actually reaching out. He spoke both to Aragiri as well as to Mamta Banerjee earlier today, trying to convince them that how in the long run FDI in retail was extremely important. And that's the reason. I think at the end of the day, the UPA too certainly wants to give out this impression that there has been no drift in its governance. Dr. Manmohan saying this government has often been criticized for not coming out with certain hard decisions, not coming out with any policy reforms, which was in a sense a landmark of UPA1. I think that sense of drift they are trying to counter with. This is just a beginning, as government sources are pointing out, of these policy reforms. There are many more other reformist agendas on the cabinet also. The next big thing, of course, is going to be that of the foreign direct investment as far as civil aviation is concerned. So having crossed the first hurdle, I think the government is fairly confident that the other policy reform measures will be easier